Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar about the hosted buyer program for Business Travel Show APAC. We're just going to mute everyone until we get to the Q&A portion of the webinar. My name is Jen Bankert, and I'm the Senior Director of Content Solutions and Conferences with the BTN Group. I'm based in New York City, but really happy to be here with everyone today. Evening for me, daytime, I think, for the rest of you. And very excited to be here with some of my colleagues, specifically my colleague Jocelyn Chan, who manages the Hosted Buyer Program for Business Travel Show APAC. Just a few housekeeping comments before we get into the content of our presentation. We are recording the webinar, so we will be sharing that after. So certainly you are more than welcome to have your camera on, but if you prefer to have your camera off, that is absolutely fine. We do welcome your questions throughout the webinar, and we will reserve some time for Q&A at the end. We can take questions in one of two ways. Certainly you can use the chat feature to send in your question. We will do our best to answer, or if you would prefer to answer or ask your question verbally, you can use the raise hand feature and we'll call on you and bring you off mute to ask your question. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump in. So just to give you some context for those of you who may not be familiar, so as I mentioned, I work for the BTN Group. And the BTN Group is a B2B media organization that's actually part of a larger media group, North Star Travel Group. We publish Business Travel News Europe, and The Beat. And so we've been a trusted media brand in the business travel industry for 40 plus years. And so while I recognize that we are still relatively new in the Asia Pacific market, we do have a long history serving both the North American and European market, and have slowly been making our presence known in the Asia Pacific region. BTN as an organization hosts more than 50 events globally every year, again, across North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific, both in Singapore as well as Sydney. And in terms of the history of this particular event, Business Travel Show, we are building on the long-standing history of Business Travel Show Europe, which is actually now going into its 32nd year. The BTN Group actually acquired Business Travel Show Europe back in 2019. And we've been working hard behind the scenes for a few years now, and we, of course, launched the debut Business Travel Show Asia Pacific earlier this year in April. And then just 2 weeks ago, we launched Business Travel Show America here in New York City. So the Business Travel Show brand has grown, and we now definitely have a global presence. And we're very excited to be coming back to Singapore again in 2026 for the second Business Travel Show Asia Pacific. So just diving into that event a little bit more in detail. This really gives us an opportunity to bring what's really a unique event, and I'll go into some of the details about what makes it unique here in just a minute, to the Asia Pacific market, and really tapping into the many travel and meetings and procurement professionals who manage the corporate travel and meetings program for their organizations. And what we're really going to focus on today is our exclusive hosted buyer program, which is an opportunity for pre-qualified travel buyers who have a minimum spend of at least $5 million US in annual travel and expense, the opportunity to engage in meetings with a curated group of exhibitors in a very efficient and productive format. And alongside that, you will have quality or access to top quality education that the BTN Group has been known for many, many years. One of the advantages to education and conference content that's produced by the BTN group is because we're backed by our editorial brand, which really does, cover not only the latest news and trends in business travel, but does its own research and analysis of the latest trends impacting corporate travel managers. And we build all of our content around that editorial brand. And so really make sure that we're always at the forefront addressing, very critical topics. We have the ability to be very nimble and flexible. Just to give you a quick example, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, we launched Business Travel Show America. And as many of you no doubt have heard, just prior to that event was when the announcement came out about the very unique partnership between SAP Concur and Amex GBT. And we were able to, in just a matter of days, reconfigure the agenda so that we could get high-level representatives from both of those organizations on the main stage, opening our event in a quick rapid-fire interview with our editorial director, Elizabeth West. And so that's just one of many examples of what BTN is able to bring to the business travel buyer community. So I've mentioned that, this show is unique for the region, and I know that, many of you have lots of different opportunities to engage in educational content throughout your year. And we know that there's, many really great events out there, and they all serve a number of different purposes. But I really just wanted to focus on what makes our show a little bit different from what some of the other organizations in the industry offer. So first and foremost, for corporate travel buyers, registration to the show, as well as all BTN events, is completely free. So there is no registration fee. If you choose to become a part of the hosted buyer program, which is what we're focusing on tonight, we also will cover your accommodation while you're in Singapore, and we will provide reimbursement for your air travel. So we really try very, very hard to eliminate any budgetary constraints that you may be experiencing. We know that budgets are tight across the board, no matter what type of organization you work for. And so with this program, by giving you that benefit, we hope that it sort of makes it a little bit of a no-brainer, but we'll go into some more detail here. And as I said, everything we do has the buyer in mind. You all are our primary audience. And yes, we're very grateful for the support that we get from our fantastic supplier partner community. But it is not the suppliers that drive the content at our events. It is the BTN team with the input of buyers in the region. And like I said, really focusing on the latest trends in research. So I'm going to just kind of wrap up here in a minute, and then I'm going to turn things over to Jocelyn to really get into the details of the hosted buyer program, but wanted to just talk a little bit more about some of the things that you'll experience on site if you choose to attend Business Travel Show Asia Pacific. As I mentioned, my title is, Senior Director of Conferences. So the conference content is, my baby. So some of the things that you'll get to experience if you join the show, we have what we call our Business Travel Innovation Face-Off. So we always look for companies, whether they're new companies or existing companies with new products, who are really moving the industry forward with innovation and giving them an opportunity to present so that you can think about what might make sense to bring into your program. We have what we call our BTN communities, which are buyer-only sessions that are very interactive and very focused on targeted networking around pre-selected topics. As I mentioned, we have our BTN research, so we always do some presentation of the latest and greatest research. Again, we have a very, intimate exhibit hall. So while we have a very diverse group of suppliers, we have a very good ratio of buyers to suppliers so that people don't feel overwhelmed. And those meetings that you engage in are really driven by you. So you get to decide who you want to meet with over those 2 days. So those are just some of the highlights. And so I'm actually going to turn things over to Jocelyn now to talk a little bit about what our exhibitor pool looks like, and then to dive into some of the nuances of the hosted buyer program. So Jocelyn, over to you, and I'll just follow your lead with the slides.
Right. Thank you so much, Jane. And thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. My name is Jocelyn, and I am based in Singapore. Previously, before joining Northstar or the BTN Group, I was working in a travel management company as a travel consultant. So I joined Northstar or the BTN Group for coming to a year now. And I am with the events team, particularly looking after the hosted buyer program for Business Travel Show Asia Pacific. So we had our debut show this year and currently running for the second edition for 2026. So if let's say you have any questions regarding on the hosted buyer program, feel free to contact me via email, or you can contact me through my landline. It will be shown on the last slide later on. All right, so as you can see from the slide right now, it's actually our 2025 exhibitor who came on board this year. We have actually more than 50 plus global and international suppliers. All right, Jane, move to the next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so let me give you a guide of an overview of the hosted buyer program. So how do we qualify is that we are looking for professional or anyone who procure business for the company in Asia Pacific region. And the company must also have an annual travel and expenses spend of $5 million and above. And we are also looking for people who is actually responsible for corporate travel and meetings management, and who is also a decision maker to set travel policy and manage the budget for their organization. So as for the title, it could be a bit broad. It could be someone who is doing sourcing as well, and mobility or category management. All right. Next slide, please, Jen. Thank you. All right, so what will be included in the hosted buyer program is that, as Jane mentioned, you will be granted 2-day full access to the registration, which is happening on 14 and 15 April. And you will be covered a round trip flight airfare, depending on the region you are coming from. And we will do a reimbursement later on after the event. And we will also cover you up to 3 nights in one of our hotel partners. This will also be advised later nearer to the event. And you will get exclusive invitation to our networking events, including some, cocktail and dinner. And you will get access to the hosted buyer lounge. And then lunch and refreshment will also be provided on the show floor itself across 2 days. You will have the flexibility to, pre-schedule one-to-one appointment with over 50 plus global and international exhibitor of your choice. And also you get a chance to attend the conference session with our industry expert. And for 2026, we are also doing something different. We do have this pre-familiarization trip available to selected hosted buyer, which is a curated itinerary for buyers to actually, get the first-hand experience, to experience Singapore about the culture, business, and of course, travel. So it's a good discovery and exploration about the Singapore.
Jocelyn, very quickly before we we go on to the next slide, one of the biggest things I forgot to mention at the very beginning, now it was on the beginning of slide, but another benefit to attending Business Travel Show is that we are co-located with the meeting show. So you really get 2 shows for the free price of one. So for those of you who may have meetings as part of your remit as well, the other half of the hall is filled with another large group of diverse exhibitors and conference content. So it really is two shows for one. So go ahead, Jocelyn.
Yes. Thank you, Jen. That's really helpful. Yeah, so we are collocating with the meeting show. And some of the simple commitment we, request all the from hosted buyer is that you are required to book at a minimum of 15 minutes appointment per day. So for 2 days, there will be 10 in total. So you have the flexibility to, choose any supplier, to make an appointment with them. And you are also required to join the networking events, to have some activities and networking session, and also to attend conference sessions. And of course, let's move on to the cancellation policy. Of course, there are certain terms and conditions in place. So if, let's say, any plans change nearer to the event, you have to email me or to the email I've listed in the slide at least 1 month before the actual event, which is 13th of March. Otherwise, there will be a penalty fee incurred. So depending on the region, and we will advise you accordingly on the fee. All right. So right now we have launched the registrations about 2 weeks ago. You can log on to businesstravelshow.com to register. It's very simple. You just need to fill up the form, and once it's submitted, our team and myself will be review the process, and it will be about 1 week or maximum 2 weeks. We will get back to you by notifying via email on the status. It's either we will approve you if, let's say, you fall into all the criteria. Otherwise, we will advise you later on the alternative to probably become a visitor buyer or otherwise. All right, these are some of the key dates that for you to take note. The hosted buyer registration will close on 6th of March 2026. And there is a cancellation deadline, as I mentioned. It will be 1 month before the actual event, which falls on the 13th of March 2026. And usually there will be a pre-cocktail session or networking events hosted on 1 day before. It will be on in the evening. And our show will be officially opens on the 14th and 15th of April. Yeah, so register now because there will be limited slots. So we encourage all of you to register as soon as possible to get a chance to attend the events.
All right. So just one minor point of clarification, because I realized Jocelyn and I both used the term without really explaining it. So you'll notice we're using the term hosted buyer and visitor buyer. So
Yeah.
Again, just to reiterate, anyone who is a qualified travel buyer, travel manager can attend the show for free. But the hosted buyer program comes with those both additional perks, but also those requirements. If for some reason you would opt not to be a part of the hosted buyer program, you absolutely can still attend the show. We then just refer to you as a visitor buyer. It's just a different category of registration. But it is one thing for Jocelyn and I to tell you how fantastic the show is. And so we thought instead we would actually give you an opportunity to hear from one of your peers. So I'm really happy to introduce my friend, David Golding, who's the travel manager at the University of New South Wales. Had the opportunity to meet David last year. He attended the show, and he is now serving on our advisory board this year. So David is going to share a little bit about his experience at the show and why he thinks you should consider joining. David, over to you.
Thanks very much, Jen. Really appreciate your invite. I'm absolutely thrilled to talk to anybody about this because I had an absolutely fantastic experience last year. So I'm happy to share that with anybody who wants to listen. So just a little bit about myself, I guess. Really, I'm the travel manager at the University of New South Wales here in Sydney, Australia. Our travel program is fairly large, I guess. We spend about 40 million Australian dollars a year on travel, going all over the place, conferences, research, that sort of thing. So So it's a relatively big program. I look after it myself. I've finally got some help in my colleague Alex, which is great, who went to the show last year as well as a panelist. But just I think that when I first heard about the show, because it was obviously brand new to the region, I guess, here in Asia Pacific, I really did do my due diligence and thought, well, it's amazing that I was qualified as a hosted buyer, so that the financial commitment was not too bad. But it was really the time commitment. So how, do I really want to spend a couple of days, sort of traveling as well as at the event? And I would absolutely encourage anybody to commit to this time, because it was a really, really worthwhile event. I like the event because it was dedicated to the Asia Pacific sort of corporate travel market. Really, that's really something that I think was missing. That's something we've got a dedicated regional Asia Pacific conference. We've got our own country ones and all that, but nothing really Asia Pacific focused. So that was really good for me when I looked into why I should bother attending. And given our sort of UNSW travel program and the APAC relevance, this regional focus was especially relevant. Meeting the suppliers, that was an absolutely essential part of why I went as well. Having access to those regional suppliers that look after the region, but also being able to connect you with sort of global contacts if we needed as well. So we've got I've got a pretty good network of contacts here in Australia, but having, very Australian focused, but having those access to those suppliers that really understand the region as well, the airlines, the hotels, and all the other suppliers that were there. And also like BTN Group, like who were they? Didn't have a clue who they were really. I as you can probably tell from the accent, I am from England, so I did know a little bit about them, but really, when I looked at them, it was like, well, new kids on the block in APAC region, let's have a look at them. But when you look at their 40 years experience in the travel industry event space and what they do in Europe and the US, it was a no-brainer. I had that trust that it was going to be a good event, and they didn't let me down there. I was, as I say, I was fortunate enough to have access to the hosted buyer program, and what's not to love about that? Really helped with, obviously, all our budgets are tight. It's really about justifying it to your bosses as to why you should go. The hosted buyer event really does help that, but also, the return on investment, being able to prove that return on investment. And it was a bit of a sort of a reach for us. Like, I had to sort of sell it to my boss, but when I came back, it was a no-brainer. It was just like, this is all the contacts I've got. This is all the information I've received. This is what, even just going and stacking up to like your program and how it compares to others in the region. And we, came back sort of feeling quite good about ourselves, actually thinking, oh, actually we're doing quite well. So, and just having that focused time out of the office, away from the BAU, in, because you're down in the sort of the weeds doing BAU stuff, answering emails, help, you with your travel program, just getting that couple of days out of the office and being focused on the travel program was really, really useful. The content, I think, was really spot on for us. There was payment, risk, duty of care. My colleague was actually on a panel talking about risk in the program, and that I was fortunate enough to be a judge on the Travel Buyer of the Year Award, the APAC Travel Buyer of the Year Award. So that was really, really good for me to be able to see all these travel managers doing what they're doing really well in their programs. But I think, do you know what the biggest takeaway I had was the networking. And Jocelyn, I think you may have a slide on this one, actually. I met so many really, really good people there, and there's a picture of us there. There's me on the sort of top right. And we've got some people there from, global programs. There's a couple from Australia there. There's one from the US. There was one from, I think, Korea, actually. She came in from. And we sort of just clicked. We met at one of the events, I think, one of the events that BTN organized for us, just got chatting, and we still keep in touch. We started our own WhatsApp group, and we actually still keep in touch today. I met the lady at the bottom there in the cream jacket, Mina, her name is. She's actually based here in Australia as well. I met up with her a couple of weeks ago, and asked her about her travel program. She's got a particularly piece of technology that we were looking at, and I didn't want to have a session with the actual travel technology supplier, because then you get all the sales talk. I wanted to hear from a customer, so she was able to come in and have a chat and tell us all about her program and how that technology works. So as I say, that was gold for us, just having those networks, talking to these people about their programs and what they're doing well, getting ideas off that. So that was really useful for us. I almost think, and the other thing, last maybe one or two things I want to talk about is the pre-planning. If I've got any tips for you, I would say get that pre-planning done. So once you get your hosted by a thing across the line and get that application approved by whoever, your boss and BTN, is get those supplier meetings. Once they've got this amazing portal that you could book your supplier meetings with, have a look at the agenda, have a look at the suppliers that you want to meet with. And where I made a little mistake was I was booking in meetings when actually I wanted to go to some of the presentations or the buyer only communities, and I was like, oh no, I wish I could change it now, but you can go on the portal, rearrange things. So the portal was really good. So hats off to Jocelyn and Jen and the team, Nelson. I almost think it should be renamed. It's a curated conference and networking summit, to be honest, as far as I can see. Business Travel Show doesn't do it justice. That seems more passive, but you really get out more if you're active involved in that. And as I say, with the Singapore Legends group that we've created on our WhatsApp group, the curated sort of networking, the buyer only communities, that's really what you get out of it. That's what I got out of it the most. So that's pretty much. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody's got any questions about, obviously Jen, you can talk about the presentation as well, but if you've got any questions for me specifically, happy to take any.
Amazing. Well, David, thank you so much for all of those lovely words, and so appreciate you and appreciate you sharing your experience. But that is a great transition. We have just a few minutes left for Q&A. So Jocelyn, David, Nelson, and I are happy to answer any questions that you have. So again, feel free to drop those into the chat, or if you use the raise hand feature. We will send the recording out to everyone afterwards, along with a copy of the deck. So certainly if you have questions, once you get off the call and have time to think about things, please don't, as Jocelyn mentioned, we'll also include our contact information. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We do also on the website, of course, have some really robust information about the hosted buyer program, how the hosted buyer program is different from the visitor buyer registration option. We have a really robust frequently asked questions page that would probably be really useful for folks to take a look at. That really gets into a lot of the nuances. But certainly, anything else that comes up, please don't hesitate to reach out. We absolutely would love for all of you to join us next April. Yeah, hopefully I get to meet all of you in person that I don't already know. So it looks like I don't see any other questions coming in, but David, thank you for your offer. We'll add your contact details to the presentation as well, if you're willing, or people can connect with us on LinkedIn as well. That's always a good place. So I guess with that, I'm going to say going once, going twice. Looks like no questions.
I can see someone typing actually, Jen. So maybe we just want to give someone.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it another.
Is it Tuti? I don't know how to pronounce the name. Apologies, but happy if you want to verbally ask the question or.
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tuti. Sorry, I cannot turn my camera on. I work remotely.
Tuti.
I work remotely. I'm from Evolution Mining Sydney. I know you, David. We've met. Yeah, we've met at a number of FCM events.
Yep.
Yeah, so I know you very well. Well, we never really talk in person, but I've seen you a couple of times. So not last year, for this year actually, I was also approved as a um hosted buyer, but I cancel it because I have some what is it, like family appointments that I need to look after my husband. So I canceled the one in April 2025. But I have been approved for the next year as well. So my question is, when can we start making flight bookings? Is it as soon as possible, or do we need to wait until next year?
Jocelyn, I'll let you take that one.
Yep, Tuti, thank you for the question. So you can start to look for your flight and recommend to send in for the option for us to review before confirming to issue your ticket. Yeah, so I think I saw your email. Let me get back and with more information by replying with more details on that, on your the budget cap and some other information to take note as well.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Tuti.
I look forward to seeing you in April, Tuti.
I'm very excited for next year.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right.
Any more questions?
Anyone else who's still on the call? Any final questions? We're happy to stay on for a few additional minutes. Peter, Molly, Michael, Vincent, Gaurav. All right. Well, certainly, again, please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions whatsoever. And again, I hope to see you all next April. If not, we'll be in touch sooner. Thank you so much for taking time to connect, and we'll follow up with the recording and the slide deck very shortly. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.